Hello and welcome to Curdcast, the podcast for people who like to eat cheese. I'm your host, Jen Mason, and with me is my always lovely, especially in 2023, Julie Fayfan Balzer. Julie, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Oh, very nice. I should have had fireworks or something planned for this.
I did. They were little, they were small, and you just, but they went off. Don't worry.
Yeah. Are you ready for another year of cheese?
Baby, I am so ready for another year of cheese, but I just don't know how you can bring anything new to the table. So let's see.
Well, let's see. For those of you who are new, because we have a ton of new people, we have a ton of people who have really, really lovely, wonderful family and friends who have given them subscriptions for the holiday. Although I suspect there are a number of you out there who really wanted this as your gift. And so what you did is gave it to your spouse so that it would come to the house. You didn't have to find a gift for the spouse who have trouble finding a gift for, and you get your cheese box. And you, my friend, are the most brilliant people on the planet. So kudos to everybody who's got a cheese box. For those of you who don't know, what we're doing today is eating through our January Curdbox. Curdbox is a cheese and pairing subscription box. We like to tell a story every month with 3 cheeses and 3 pairings. That could be pickles or popcorn or cocktail mix or jam, which is what's in this box, sort of in some way or another. And our theme this month is Mocktail Mashup. And we've done boxes before, Julie will tell you, where we've themed them around wine or beer, or I think we did a cider one. I'm not sure. I can't remember. There's been so many. What number is this? This is like number 50 or 52, or I don't know. More than 4 years of Curd boxes. And Julie, this time we're focusing on Mocktail Mashup. So a non-alcoholic themed box.
Well, mocktails are having a moment. I listened to a financial podcast, and as part of it, they do actually a conversation about like what they're drinking while they're talking about it, because it's sort of more of a casual thing. Yeah. And one of the hosts was talking about how she was going to a mocktail event, which is kind of like a beer fest, but for mocktails. And like they now sell mocktails in cans. And I think, dry January, everything else, I think people are interested, some for health reasons, some for other reasons, in, having the fun of a drink, but without
a beautiful drink. Exactly. And that's why I wanted to do this. And I thought it was fun to do it in January because everybody starts their habits out, or their detox from maybe too much holiday drinking, or for whatever reason. And I'm here to say, I agree with a lot of what you see online, which is, if somebody asks you why you don't drink, it's none of their damn business. Darn business. Sorry, I started out the new year with a bad word. Well, there's none of their business. And there's so many reasons why people choose not to drink. I actually I like cocktails. But I like a mocktail almost just as much, or maybe more sometimes. It depends what I'm in the mood for. I just love new and exciting. When I go to a restaurant, I always want to order what's on the specials list because it's not always going to be there. And so I feel the same way about a mocktail. I can always have a soda, a cola like I normally do, or a water, and be boring, but be good for my body. But sometimes I want something that's got a rosemary simple syrup in it. It's just, that's what I got to have. So I just think that I'm loving this movement that we're seeing out there because I just think it's interesting. Forget about whether you even care about having alcohol or not. I think it's fun to play with our drinks as well as our food. So what does that mean? Mocktail Mashup for this month. So this is an interesting box in that when we put it together, we tried to think of what would it be like if you were having cheese and cocktails, but they're mocktails. And so we played with that a little bit with our pairings. And we wanted to have cheeses that were going to go with whatever your mocktail might be. So you could have a whole, ginger beer, non-alcoholic ginger beer kind of moment. You could have hard cider and not hard cider, but regular cider and something sparkly. And there's so many different ways you could go that pairing it wasn't like I could just pair it with a red wine. So we picked some pretty good, basic, not basic, but staple, sort of profiles for this box. So I'm excited about that. And for anybody listening along, even if you're not listening along, you can go to our archives page. And we have actually put together, we've designed our own mocktail. It's a blackberry, balsamic, ginger bramble. So a bramble is usually a blueberry kind of cocktail.
I want that.
Yes. Well, you have the stuff. Well, if you have a little Greek yogurt and a lemon, you have the stuff to make it. And so we give a whole direction. I actually illustrated the how-to, so it's a fun thing, and you can have it. The whole family can have it. And it's got a little yogurt in it, and we tried it with both Greek and regular yogurt. Either will work. And it's just really fun. If you've got a cocktail shaker, great. If you don't, a Tupperware container or something that you can just shake up with a good sealed lid, so you don't send me hate mail later when you get. But we went specifically for the jam we're going to taste in a little while, because I wanted people to think about other ways they can sweeten. Sort of the same way we look at a cheese board and we think of what's a different way we could do nuts? What's a different way we could do pickles? Also something we're doing in this box. I was thinking, what is a way to say, you could match your cheese board to your mocktail? So if that all makes sense to everybody, let's get started and try some cheese. And I've got the residual of a little head cold here, so I'm going to keep drinking water.
I will say, as a person who doesn't drink, I do really appreciate it when at an event or a restaurant, like they have the non-alcoholic options other than soda, because so often you go somewhere and either they don't have any non-alcoholic options other than
so
water,
many times, which
drives me crazy. Or when they do, it's literally like you can have sodas, but you know what I mean? But sometimes you want something lovely too. So this is so fun. I'm really excited.
Exactly. Okay. So we're going to start out with our brie today. This is the Canadian Baby Brie by Eiffel Tower. This is actually imported by our friends at Atalanta. They're one of the biggest importers in the country. I've actually been on a business trip to Piave with some of Atalanta's people. Oh, this is just like, it's nice. It's not
firm brie.
It's firm, but like it's a little stretchable too. What I like about a good firm brie, not a good firm brie. This is nice. There are much firmer bries, much younger bries. This has still got some squish to it. So it's nice because it's firm enough to cut if you wanted to make yourself a little brie, a brie sandwich or something. It's firm enough to cut. It's not like you'd have to spread it. And this is like, because I love making beautiful cheese boards, this is firm enough that you could pre-cut these little triangles, which I've done here for the camera, and you can sort of space them out and it looks really pretty on a cheese tray. Some bries are just beautifully ripe that if you did that, by the time everybody showed up for the party, it would just be one big blob. Goo. Yes, which defeats the whole purpose.
Nice thing is it's a firm enough brie that you could use it as a cracker without a cracker. Like you could certainly put jam or something on top of it and not need the cracker.
That's a very good point. And in this box, we didn't include a surface. So for those of you who are new to our box, we don't put a cracker in every time. We don't put a cookie or a cracker or surface. We only do it when one of the cheeses really requires it, or if the flavor profile of the cracker fits our theme for some reason. We didn't want you tasting 12 boring plain crackers a year. We want to save those 12 things for something really exciting, which could be a very tasty cracker or something that's got amazing mind-blowing texture, whatever.
Well, the way I think of it too is like, we so often get into this narrow idea of what a cheese board is supposed to include. And it's like, you must have a cracker, you must have, and you don't. Like, there are lots of other crunchy, satisfying things. There are lots of ways to eat cheese that don't involve the cracker. Certainly, this sounds silly, but if you're looking to be like gluten-free, or if you're looking to have, like you don't eat wheat, or like whatever it is, eliminating the crackers is a great way to still be able to enjoy the cheese, and then you get your crunch through another way. So I just think it's like, it's always teaching me, the Curdbox always teaches me that there's another way to think about a cheese board.
Exactly. And the other thing that, and we did a survey at the very beginning. I like to go back and tell some extra things at the beginning of the year, because we always have more new people. But when we very started, we asked people, would you just like to crack? Are you so tied to the cracker that you'd really, really, it would make your day if you had it? And overwhelmingly, people said no. If it's not something new and exciting or something different to try, I probably got crackers in my cupboard. This is what we heard.
Yeah.
So this brie
also
does not require cracker.
I'm more of a bread as opposed to cracker person. Give me a baguette over a cracker.
You know, I do not blame you. I've been spending, lucky enough to spend a little time in Italy recently, and they don't ever use crackers. It's like they just don't. There's so many other things, and they like go to pick up bread every day. So there's always fresh bread in the house, and it's a really lovely thing to have it on there. But even that, I watch the Italians will eat bread with the cheese plate, but they don't put the cheese on the bread. I would if I was spreading it. They do with ricotta or something like that. But every item is sort of a little separate entity. They don't do a lot of dipping or spreading that I've noticed. I haven't met all Italians yet. I'm working on that. One
just
Italian
working your way through the country, one person
through all the Italians. Yes. So beautiful brie. This is just like a 5 to 6 month brie. So it's not a brand new young brie. If it was, it wouldn't really have that that bloomy rind, that sort of soft velvety rind yet. And it's Canadian. The rennet is vegetarian. All those good things, but it's a beautiful, good, basic brie. It's going to be great with our pairings. It's going to go sort of all different ways. Because it's not too sweet, it's not too earthy, it's not too, it's just going to be a great matchup. Okay, so our next contestant, we're going to go to our Ideazabal, which is for you. If you've got them cut, this is the firmer one, and it's smoked, so you should also be able to smell the smoke on it. And also, if you're new here, when I'm doing a board, I like to cut the cheeses in different shapes so that if you're sharing it with somebody else, more than just a spouse or somebody in the family, if they liked a cheese, they know when they go back, when they're sort of half talking, holding their little mocktail, talking to somebody, sidetracked, they might remember, oh, it was a stick of cheese and not a cube of cheese or not a triangle of cheese. And so they can have another one if they liked it, or they can avoid it if they didn't care for it. But yeah, this is our Ideazabal.
I like it. It has like a sour cream flavor in it that's really nice. It's very mild. Like the smokiness is not overwhelming. It's I would call this a subtle cheese. It definitely has an aftertaste that is that sort of sour cream aftertaste that lasts in your mouth. But it's not like an overwhelming. Sometimes when things are smoky, I'm just like, oh, I taste the smoke.
I totally hear you. So this is also a sheep's milk cheese. So it's going to taste saltier than if it was made with a cow's milk cheese. It's coming to us from northern Spain. It's actually probably a little younger than the brie. And why I say probably, why don't you know how old your cheese is? Well, cheese comes to us from gets imported into the country, and then we get it. They get through their sort of start of their aging process, and they might say, okay, well, it's going to go to the distributor, and it's going to take the distributor a couple weeks to get it to the store, which is going to then have it in their store for a couple. So it could be sort of, what is the age when they send it out? So they usually send this out at about 4 months. This is a really beautiful cheese, very, very similar to a manchego, which a lot of people love. But this one would traditionally so they make this cheese in the winter. The sheep, sorry, not the cows, because they don't make this with cow's milk. The sheep are down in the valley, and then they go up in the mountains sort of spring, summer, and fall. And the idea is to keep the cheeses, they would put them up in the rafters, and there's fire in the fireplace in there, keeping it warm, because it's cool. Not in the summer, they're not keeping it warm, but and it's that traditionally that smokiness of just being in a place where there is a fire, that it gets that. It's not, doesn't have, be stuck in a box and smoked. It doesn't have fake smoke added to it. It's why it's very subtle. And for anybody who's got this box and is cutting it, you could see almost, and Julie, you probably just have slices so you can't see on yours. But as I was cutting it, I could see sort of a slight ring of color around maybe like the outside about a centimeter, half centimeter to a centimeter. So it is not going to taste the same in the very center of the wheel as it is towards the outside. So you could kind of see where that smoke had managed to come in through the rind. And so it's a really interesting thing to see how different that is. So you might go, wow, I loved how smoky this was. And you have another piece, but it was from the middle. And you're like, wow, I remember this being smokier than this. And it's just the nature of how it's made and how it's hanging out.
It's kind magical. Of the magic of cheese that even if you get the same cheese and it's a different batch or a different part of the wheel or a different whatever, it might be slightly different. It's almost like cheese is having a like, you only live once, like enjoy it now, like carpe diem, like cheese is like, this is it now, like eat, if you like it now, eat it now. Totally. It might never be like this again.
Yeah. And then at the same time, there's also this FOMO, which I know people have, which is like, do I let it age a little bit longer and will it be better? And then they forget about it and then it gets moldy in the fridge. So, but yeah, I mean, you have to, cheese is a living thing. It like literally is a living thing. It is changing just like any other fermented food, pickles, kombucha, all that stuff. And it's always changing from batch to batch, from wheel to wheel, from eating it this week to eating it next week. It's always changing. So if you go to a store that lets you taste the cheese, even if it's your favorite cheese ever, ask them if you can taste it before you pick out your piece. Maybe you don't like this batch as much as the last one. There are some people out there that, or some cheeses out there that sometimes they'll have like a pineapple profile, and sometimes that same cheese will taste like fried chicken. And I love it. I mean, I like it when it's got the pineapple flavor. It doesn't taste like pineapple, but it's like that subtleness, like when people are drinking fancy wine and they say, oh, it has notes of dark berries.
I can't do
that.
Like
a sweet, I can't. We'll have a whole discussion on that another time. But this whole, it's got like a sweeter profile, but the one that tastes like fried chicken, it seriously tastes like somebody like left it in a bag with a bucket of KFC. It is so good. And when I taste that one, I get a bunch of it. Or I should say, because we have a shop. When it comes into our shop and it tastes like that, my staff knows to tell me this batch tastes like fried chicken, Jen. So then I do something about it. Let's see. Other interesting information about this cheese. I mean, I love the name Idiazabal. It's just like a fancy name. I know a lot of people love manchego. They like to say manchengo. That's not how you say it. So everybody on this podcast will be super smart and say manchego. And people will know how smart you are by the way you say it. It's like one.
Didn't call this, if it wasn't the Curdcast, it could be called Smart About Cheese.
Smart About Cheese. That is a good name for it. So this is a great cheese. A good, it's got that smokiness with just the slight, and it's just giving us a slightly different flavor to play with our pairings in a little bit. But I want to have one of my favorite cheeses. It is, not a hard to find cheese. It is not a overly expensive cheese. I just really love this cheese. This is Curdbox Le Cremeux by Emmy. The name basically means cold creek because there's a cold creek that runs through the cave that these are.
Oh my gosh. So good.
Right?
It's like soft and creamy, but firm. It's flavorful, but not like too salty. It's complex.
Yeah.
Like, I would almost say it has something like piney in it, if you can believe that. It's really so interesting. I'm going to have a second piece.
That's it. Just two. That's all you're allowed to have. Yeah. I love this cheese. I like it particularly because of its texture. Even cutting this already felt like I was cutting a cheese that had been sitting out for an hour, even when I was cutting it, when I had just taken it out of the fridge.
Yeah, me too.
So it just melts in your mouth. This is an Alpine style cheese. And which means it's sort of in the recipe of cheeses made up in the mountains. It's made for our friends at Emmy Cheese in Switzerland. It's aged in a 22 million year old cavern. I don't know who actually counted how many years. I don't know if you can like.
Wow.
I don't know how you find out how old a cavern is.
I mean, 22
that part in
million,
school.
20 million, you know, million
Right.
years off here and
Is
there.
it like give or take 300,000? I'm not sure.
Right.
But it is such a beautiful cheese. And it's going to go nicely with our pairings.
I mean, if you told me you're giving like $22 million versus like 20 million, you know, I'd probably be pretty easy about whichever one you wanted to have.
Yeah, unless you had told me 22 first, and I already spent it in my head. But I'm not going to get mad.
You spend $22 million on. Like you'd have to buy. I mean, you'd have to. I don't know. I guess if you bought like a crazy enough house or like an airplane,
a 22 million year old cavern. That's what I'd buy full of cheese. Or maybe not. Or maybe not. Who knows? But yeah. So this is a cow's milk cheese. This is 4 months too. So pretty much the oldest cheese is the brie, which isn't always the case with brie. Sometimes that's the youngest cheese, but this cheese is so complex for being so young, which I'm so proud of it. It's like I'm its mom. The cave that
genius. It's a prodigy.
This cavern, so it's a cave cavern. I don't also know the difference. It's sort of like when people ask me, what's the difference between a jam, jelly, chutney, marmalade? And I go, I don't know exactly. But in Italy, they call everything marmellata. Everything's called marmalade in Italy, which is hilarious. So they don't even care. It's just delicious fruit. But this cave that it is in, that it gets aged in, is 50 feet below ground. It's constantly 54.5 degrees. You know what's great about that? You always know what to wear to work.
That's true. That's true. You're never wondering.
Shifting.
That's the hardest thing is when it's like that betweener weather, when you're like, it could be hot, it could be cold. I just don't know.
You're right. You're very right. You're very right. Okay. So those are our cheeses. Overall, very flexible, amiable cheeses that we've picked for this box to go with whatever mocktail or quite frankly, cocktail that you want to have. But for the purpose of this, a mocktail. And I encourage everybody to try a mocktail. I had a friend who liked to just do, it was like purple grape juice, like Welch's purple grape juice, which I don't think I've had since kindergarten. And ginger ale. And I don't remember if it was like equal parts. I really should talk to her and ask her what that is. And it tasted like the fanciest drink ever. And she was somebody who chose not to drink. But this, I said, you know, what do you like to have when everybody else is having fun, fancy things with umbrellas in it? And she's like, I have this thing and nobody knows what it is, but it's not, you know, clear. So they know it's not water. So I feel fancy. It's two things put together. So I feel fancy, like everything. She's like, it's grape juice. So people are having wine. I feel like I'm also drinking grapes. Anyway, I encourage people to try something.
The easiest mocktail on earth that I make is you just have like some carbonated water and then you put in some like the Crystal Light flavor of your choice, whatever it is, right? Because powdered and it's easy. And then if you really want to get fancy, you like squeeze a lime and like put it on the edge or something like that. But otherwise, like feels like a spritzer
like
mocktail.
Orange twist. Excellent.
Right?
So try one with this. Try one, everybody. Okay, so we're going to step into cocktail land only long enough to eat some Spanish cocktail snack mix by Matika. I love this company. It's brought to us Forever Cheese, works with Matika, and this is a woman-run company. I've had the lovely opportunity to meet the woman. This like very, I'm gonna say powerful woman, but like in the sweetest, warmest way. Like she's just bringing us some of the most, and I say powerful maybe because what she brings to this country, what she's importing here, so some of the best that she finds in Spain. And I've loved everything We've used a lot of their products. It's just a high level of quality, very good pricing, and delicious. Very delicious. So these are a fantastic collection of corn nuts, pistachios, almonds, fava beans, chickpeas, and a little bit of sea salt.
I don't think there's pistachios in here. I think it's, just reading the ingredients.
Not pistachios?
No, it says corn kernels, fava beans, chickpeas, Valencia almonds, sunflower oil, rice flour, sea salt.
There you go.
Delicious.
So good. And I love how big the corn kernels are. Also known to a lot of people as Kikos. Q-U-I-X-O-S.
I haven't found an almond yet, though.
I have 3 on my plate.
They probably sunk to the bottom of my container.
I also love the fried fava beans. Just another texture. I also eat with my eyes, so I love a mix. I love mixed nuts. You and I are kind of like mixed nuts.
We're both nuts.
Always salty, sometimes sweet, usually spicy.
And you never know what you're going to get when you put your hand in.
Never. So great. Salty is always great with a cheese plate. It's going to go with everything you try it with. It's going to make you want more mocktail. It's going to be good. Okay. So now we have to move on to the most hilarious thing in this box. And you might ask, why is popcorn hilarious? You might think it's because it's dill pickle flavor, which could have just been where we stopped. I love a good dill pickle. It's hard to work a jar of dill pickles into our boxes. We do have pickles in here occasionally, but we try to put together what you could eat dinner for 2 for the most part. Maybe there's a little jam left over, a little honey, whatever. So like a giant jar of pickles doesn't really work. So we like pickled flavor things. That's lovely. This is a beautiful, and I love pickles. I love pickled anything. These are made by 1 in 6 Snacks. They're called 1 in 6, and were formed in 2015. Basically, it refers to the statistic that 1 in 6 people don't know where their next meal will come from, and therefore they donate to the to help feed those in North Carolina, where they're based in. With every bag that's purchased, which is awesome. And speaking of the bag, our hilarious part was when we sourced this, I had tried them at the fancy food show. I knew I loved them, or I tried them at one of the food shows. At some point, I tried them. I had them on my list. We were picking them out. We were curating our lists for this year, and I picked it. And when my team went to pack it, they let me know that the bag is as big as the box you want to put it in, Jen. And I said, that's on me. In the picture, it looked like a little square bag. I didn't double check the ounces, although 4.5 ounces you wouldn't think is a lot. 4.5 ounces of, say, beef jerky is not a lot of beef jerky, but 4.5 ounces of popcorn is a bag as big as your box. So to all of those getting your very first box of Curdbox, just know that it'll be in a smaller box next month. Maybe you can use this one for storage or something. It'll be in a box that has our name on it. Yeah, it's as big as your head. It is. We don't normally put a big, huge. So y'all got lucky. Because I didn't double check, and happy holidays, happy New Year. It's a gift from me. It's fantastic. You can actually share this. Don't tell anybody about the rest of the box. Don't share the rest of the box. It's just for you. But I love these popcorn.
I'm addicted.
What a great treat. What do you think of them?
It's delicious. It's so, I thought it was kind of be like sour pickly, but it's really, you get the dill.
You do.
It's almost like having this weird, like fresh popcorn is kind of the way that I can think to describe it. Okay. I'm into it. I'm super loving it. I can't keep my hand out of the bag.
Yeah. See, this maybe I should have started with, I was going to do a small bag, everybody, but I knew this was so good that it was worth us putting in a big bag, getting
Did it on
bigger
purpose.
boxes for all 1,000+ of you getting this box. And oh my goodness, what a funny thing. You know, my team, you know, panicked at first, but they always just call me and say, what should we do about X?
Guess we need a bigger box.
And I was like, what do we got for boxes, everybody? And, you know, don't panic. Don't panic. Nobody's going to complain about getting extra popcorn this year. And if any of you are on a diet or anything, first of all, cheese, very good for you. Great source of protein. But I gave you popcorn. Popcorn. That's a great snack for the new year. So, you know, hardly, I mean, you kind of work, if you eat them one at a time, you work them off as you eat them.
It's just like celery.
I haven't talked to our lawyers yet on whether or not that's true. So
there you go.
Probably not true. Anyways, beautiful, beautiful. Love that. It's fun. It's mild. It's going to go with whatever cocktails you like. You like a savory cocktail, mocktail, sorry. Even the sweet. I mean, it does go very dilly and not very pickly, I think. You know, it's not like salt and vinegar kind of popcorn. It definitely goes sort of to that fresh dill taste. All right, one more to go, and then we're going to do some pairing, find out some of our favorites. And it's going to be an interesting one to pair because I really do feel like this is one that you want to have yourself a nice little mocktail with and just keep nibbling on stuff, and they're all going to go together. I think we can pair things together, but it's kind of just enjoying them all at the same time. So our last one is our Blackberry Balsamic Ginger Jam by Fat Crow Gourmet. They're based in New York. You know, I just also want to say, Michelle at Fat Crow, thank you very, very much for making this work. We really, 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 really wanted this jam in the box because we thought it would make one of the most interesting mocktails. I mean, I could have made a mocktail recipe with strawberry jam, sure. But Blackberry Balsamic Ginger Jam, it gives you, you know, that little bit of sort of acidity from the balsamic. It gives you the ginger, which is bright. I think you can do lots of stuff with this. I'd love to see this mixed into a mule, maybe. Play off some ginger beer. I think there's lots of ways you can do it. So basically, you can just sort of adjust a mocktail by taking the alcohol out of a cocktail and with jam, use the jam instead of a simple syrup and adjust accordingly to sort of how much jam you need. I'd say start with a little bit. Works well in a drink that needs to be shaken because it'll shake up the jam. But you know, go for it, try it, experiment. So, anyways, Michelle, thank you so much. She started by making her own mustards and sauces that were served along menu items at this brew pub she owned. And the things went so well, she closed the brew pub and started making these wonderful jams and mustards.
I know that this is a silly thing to say, but I love her packaging.
I know. It's really, really fun packaging too, which I drew sort of on the little mocktail recipe. I had fun drawing the little crow on there. But yeah, so all really great. I really encourage people to go and check the other flavors she has. You can get stuff online. There's just really yummy. And she made this. This was like during the depths of getting ready for the holidays. She was prepping and really just made it work so that we could get the cases and cases and cases and cases and cases. And she had to like make the balsamic. This was made fresh for this box. This was not sitting in some warehouse somewhere. These were made fresh for this box, which you could say, oh, good, it'll last a long time. No, you're going to open it, try it, and it's going to be gone. You have enough for this board and a few mocktails. And then you're going to need to go get some more. So, and she's got some really cool flavors. I love somebody who thinks outside the box, and Michelle definitely does. So definitely check her out. But right now, we should sort of check out some pairings here, see what you like together, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. So
let's see. Combo. What
will you start with?
Oh, I'm thinking the jam on the brie.
That is a no-brainer.
Like a classic, right? Just
So
slap some
classic.
jam on the brie.
And so we talked a little bit about this brie before, about the makeup of it. This is the perfect brie to try doing a baked brie on.
Maybe a chaser of the cocktail mix.
Sweet and salty, always a good.
And then tell me the name of the smoked cheese again.
Idiazabal.
Idiazabal. Sounds like a spirit from hell. I'm going to take that and mix it with a little bit of dill pickle.
Nice.
My theory here is the sour cream flavor mixed with the dough makes a lot of sense.
So much. But couldn't you imagine this whole thing with a nice, cool, refreshing mocktail?
I could. Yum. Everything goes so well together. A little mix and match. You could have a little cheese on cheese action, I feel like, here, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. And this is, so for those of you, again, new, this is not just for I should say something for those of you who have been coming for a while, but for those of you who are new to this podcast, to Curdbox. We like to teach you something without you having to learn anything. And so things that, you like to put on a cheese board are, nuts, some kind of fruit, and some kind of nibble, or some kind of surface. We've taught you today, you don't have to have that surface, or you can, and it could be bread, it could be crackers, it could be whatever you want. We've got popcorn. We didn't just think of popcorn. By the way, I do think more people need to put popcorn on cheese boards. There's so many cool popcorn flavors, and you can put it in a bowl in the center of a cheese board. So it's so accessible to people, to kids, to families, whatever. Popcorn is a great thing to have on a cheese board. We didn't just do nuts. We did a nut mix. We didn't just do dried fruit. We did a jam. So take what you would normally expect and then take a step to the side and think about, what would that look like from over here, from outside the box? And then you can sort of reinvent the same cheese plate 100 different ways. So any other favorites, or just you like it all?
I like it all. I mean, I think for me, what's the last cheese we ate? The one that's so complex but young.
Yeah, the Curdbox La Cremeux.
Yeah, I think that with the jam is kind of my jam.
Fantastic. All right. For those of you who are not new and come back and listen to us every month, we'll be back again next month. Let me go over some of the handles for some of our different products so you can find out more. For our Canadian baby brie, you can find out more from Atalanta Corporation, at Atalanta Corporation. Our Curdbox La Cremeux is at Emmy Cheese USA. Emmy is EMMI. At Forever Cheese Co., you can find out more about that delicious Spanish cocktail snack mix. They make so many fun, crunchy bits, nuts, and it's just really a great company. They do way more than nuts. They do cheeses, jams, stuff like that. At 1 in 6 Snacks for our dill pickle popcorn, and at Fat Crow Gourmet to go see what Michelle is cooking up in New York. And you can follow Julie at What Julie Ate, and you can follow us at Curdbox.com, or better yet, sign up, subscribe, and get your Curdbox or give one to someone you love. And you can find us there at Curdbox.com. Happy New Year, everybody. We've got a great year planned for you this year. So excited. Our favorite time of the year is planning out what we're doing every month, planning out our themes, and we're really excited about it. There won't be another giant bag of popcorn for at least a year. It's not in the lineup. So enjoy your popcorn, enjoy your cheese, and come back and visit Julie and I next month, where we'll talk more here at Curdcast are also known as the Smart Cheese Podcast.
Yeah,
Happy New Year, everybody.